Good morning and welcome to Wellspring. My name is Jim Moore and I am part of your March 1st, 2026 Sunday service team. Now I've got a few announcements. Early Birds meets Sunday mornings at 9:30 via Zoom. The link is in the weekly email and on the website. We've been going over the book, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and there's some awesome stuff in that book. Our speakers for March today, we have Dr. Edward Burlbaw. Reverend Pamela Ivancha will be with us next week. The following week, Reverend Kamatara, we haven't seen her for a while. Our own Judy Bethman on the 22nd, and Reverend Sandy Scott from TRC on the 29th. Our Thursday evening group continues to meet on Thursday evenings. Cleona or Edward can give you the coordinates. Our Jean Geringer is going to do another dowsing workshop on Saturday the 21st here in the over in the social hall. It goes from 1:30 to 4:30, and it's a $35 fee. And don't show up at 2:30 like I did this time and go. Our March outing we're going to do on 3/28 at 3 p.m. We're going to work on the labyrinth and have a potluck, so that'll be right here on premises. Our prayer team remains ready to serve and support you. You may submit a prayer request via our webpage or give it to Edward. Our prayer team meets virtually on Tuesday afternoons at 4:15 to pray with you. You may consider sitting in your quiet space during that time. We know we are one in spirit, and the energy of prayer knows no limits. Spirit is in this place with us, as Spirit is everywhere. We are so blessed to be in this frame of mind and this type of a Sunday morning wonderful get-together. And so it is. I normally have a written one that I bring and read, and I forgot to bring it, so I had to kind of wing it. Please stand if you are able for our song of joy. What a wonderful world. And hopefully we will have a, will you be up here?
Eventually, not for this song.
Not for this one? Okay.
And we all know this song well. But we know this song well, but everybody has a different sort of timing on it. And you can try to follow me. But, basically you sing the way it feels right to you, and it'll be a good sound. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. Skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh yeah, yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh yeah.
You may be seated. Let us read together our vision, mission, and affirmation. Our vision: to elevate spiritual consciousness in our world. Our mission: to support individual spiritual quests through celebration, study, counsel, loving fellowship, and service. Our affirmation: this month we remind ourselves that all love begins
of the dormancy of winter. We give thanks for the understanding that nothing remains stagnant in spirit, and we are always growing and renewing.
And so it is. Now we have some special music from our longtime friend Barry. Thank you, Barry. That was beautiful. Now, my reading this morning comes from my favorite book. I love this book. And I'm reading from the January 8th page. My thought is inspired by the Most High. We should believe that God is the invisible partner in our lives and affirm that divine love goes before us and prepares the way. We should permit ourselves to be guided, for there is something within us, deep at the center of our being, which knows what we ought to do and how we ought to do it. I am listening to the divine presence and permitting it to direct my path. Thoughts and ideas will come to me, and I shall be led to follow through on them in my everyday life. I shall be impelled into right action. I know how to meet every situation in calm trust and with the complete conviction that divine intelligence is guiding me. I wish to do only that which is constructive and life-giving. Therefore, I know that everything I do will prosper. Everything I touch will be quickened into a newness of life and action. Every constructive purpose in my life will be fulfilled. I have a deep sense of inner calm, a complete assurance that all is well. The same intelligence that governs the planets in their course is now acting as a law of good in my personal experience and in the experience of everyone around me. I do thank God for this increase that is mine. I do accept divine guidance. I do believe that I am in silent partnership with all the power, all the presence, and all the love there is. I place my life entirely and completely under the protection and guidance of this power, and I rest in complete assurance that everything I do will prosper. And now it's time to bring up our speaker, Edward.
Well, good morning. Good to see all of you. Hello to you on Zoom land as well. Appreciate seeing you here today as well. So the last time I spoke, I titled it, Karma is Love. And if many of you remember how I tried to sort of reframe our concept of karma and just saying, in fact, that it is loving presence that's working through us. And I'll touch a little bit back on that as well. But probably the question that came up for you was, well, that sounds all good, but I still got it. I still got to live with it. What am I going to do? You didn't really help me except for maybe tell me that there was no wrathful God that was punishing you for your actions. So what I want to talk about today is somewhat about how we create it and how we overcome it. Okay? Now I used the analogy that it's kind of like the windshield and all of our misbeliefs and hang-ups and stuff was like dirt on the windshield, and that we really wanted to clean that in order to shine more brightly and also to receive more light. It's, if you want to go a little further, you can talk about the lighthouse. And if the lenses are all dirty, the ships may not be guided properly and so forth. So I want to go a little further. And so I'm going to step over here. And I'm going to talk about our three-dimensional windshield. All right, so you see my physical body here. But we also have an emotional body, sometimes called an etheric body, which is not nearly as visible. And we have a mental body that surrounds that. And actually these other bodies are all kind of interwoven and flow in and out. So we kind of group all of these other bodies, our energy bodies, as our aura, correct? So this is the windshield through which we look at and experience and how others experience us. The stuff that we have in this invisible windshield around us represents us to the world and also prevents me from seeing you clearly as who you are. So maybe we want to do something about that. We'll talk a little bit more about this aura because I've got my junk floating around in my aura. And like I kind of alluded, but I'll specifically say, we are both transmitters and receivers. Okay? So my junk is sending out these little signals to the universe and say, hey, anybody out there resonate with, put your favorite negative emotion there. Hey, anybody out there resonating with, put your favorite positive emotion there. Love. So then it becomes like Velcro. So if you say, if you're transmitting hate, for example, then if nothing else, the hate of the collective consciousness of the world says, hey, I've got a friendly person over here. And it comes over and it collects with you, amplifies your own hate, for example. And now you feel what? More hate. So one might say that right now there's kind of a lot of hate going on in the world. And sometimes, I'll put it this way, this process that I just described, we then, like I say, feel or act more hateful or out of hate. Or anger. What about anger? Is there any anger out in the world today? Everybody who believes there isn't, raise your hand. I don't want to make it hard. Okay, so if you've got a little anger that's resonating, with that anger, it's going to, shall we say, glom on. It's going to become part of who you are and how you act. Now, you know we have a cat. So last night the cat comes into the room, goes over and starts scratching on the carpet. And I just let out this huge roar and I said, you know, stop that, and a few other choice words. But after that, I thought to myself, I said, it's almost like, where did all that come from? But I'd kind of been following some of the news yesterday and things like that. I thought, dang it. You know, that wasn't all me. That was, I had borrowed some of that from the clutter that's out here. So now a little sidebar on this thing we call our aura. Those who are empaths tend probably to have an aura that extends out a little further. And those more reclusive may have an aura that's a little tighter in. Now, you know, I'm not going to try to convince you that you have an aura. That's not, but if you recall going back to the 70s, we always talked about vibes, right? You walk into a room and you say, oh, the vibes of that room, you know. Well, that's because the vibes of that room, the energy of that room is impacting on your other bodies and you're sensing it. So if you are about to go into a situation that might be a little tense, I'll call this aura management. Take a deep breath and sort of collect your aura, if you will, and consciously bring it a little closer to you. Just don't go in there just all over the place, see? Because then you're going to be picking up all the stuff that's in that room. All right, so why did I take this little side route? Well, one of those is to say some of this is yours, some of this is others. And as you resonate with it, you collect it. Now, how does this relate to karma? All right. Some of this stuff that's ours, or close to ours, we may have come into this life wanting to learn. Because karma is just an opportunity to learn. It's nothing more or less than that. So, and it might be, we talk about family karma. Maybe you were born into an abusive family, and, where'd that come from? Well, usually you can trace it back to a number of generations. And then I'd say, well, why would I even come to an abusive situation? That's like, most of us wouldn't say if you got the list and you said, yes, I would like a loving family, I would like brothers and sisters, mother, father. I don't think it's even on the list that says I would like to come into an abusive family. However, if you recall the book, Neil Donald Walsh, it's one of my favorite books. It's called The Little Soul and the Sun. And the little soul was up in, for the sake of this discussion, it's a child book, is up in heaven sitting around and talking to God, and they're just having a good time, and I guess there are a few people over there playing harps and things. And it's all joyful. It's all vanilla. No conflict, nothing. No opportunities for growth. So the little soul in the sun says, God, there's not much to do around here. He says, I need to learn a little bit more. And so God says, well, what would you like to learn? And the little soul says, I would like to learn forgiveness. And so said, okay, we can make that happen. You're going to go down to earth and learn forgiveness. He says, well, who am I going to forgive? All these people here, souls here, are wonderful. And another little soul raises its hand and says, I'll go down to earth and I'll be that person you need to learn to forgive. And so, of course, they go down to earth, and there's one who needs to learn forgiveness or wants to learn a deeper understanding of forgiveness, and there's the other one that is the impetus for that learning. So I think right in here was where I wanted to read from this book. I picked this book up, I'm not quite sure, it's called A Radical Approach to the Akashic Records, Master Your Life and Raise Your Vibration. I got it online, I'm pretty sure. So here it is, The Cycle of Karma. Understanding the cycle or wheel of karma is essential to your comprehension of the planes, going back on the various planes and heights of that. I see your decision to incarnate on the earth plane as a desire to experience creation on a dense level. This experience helps you evolve your consciousness. Here, you can master and experience the duality of the physical, emotional, and mental planes and bodies. When you incarnate on this plane, it's as if you were going on an adventurous trip, like hiking in the Alps. You came here because you wanted to see and discover new things. Spirit has told me that as you moved into this realm, you started to feel separate from divine love, and you became caught up in the illusion of the linear, dualistic energy of the lower planes. You spent lifetimes here trapped in the linear experience, which means you are stuck within the cycle of karma on the earth plane. mentions really there's no time and no space, but I want to sum it up as when you believe that linear time and space are real, you get caught up in the illusion of your stories of sadness and pain. That means your soul has not mastered the physical, emotional, and mental planes. Since you have not mastered those planes and bodies, you are caught up in the cycle of karma. Okay, so how other ways do we create this karmic field that we have to live in and operate in? So we have this song that says our thoughts are prayers, right? And we are always praying. Well, we're always thinking. There's no question about that. And as co-creators in this universe, whatever we're thinking, we're creating. So if you want to, you can create more gunk in your field and you can create more karma. And I already explained the cycle. If you get a little gunk here and it starts attracting and resonating with other stuff, you get more of it. You know, it's just the way it goes. So we can feed that thought form or not. And I think Randy Granger talked about, it was a American Indian parable about the white wolf and the black wolf, and we choose which wolf we're going to feed. Yeah. So another way that we have karma or create karma is through unresolved attachments or situations from previous lives or this life. You know, that person you met in junior high and you went your separate ways and, oh my gosh, you just really wish you could get back with them? You know, it's like you're still connected, you know. At some plane, you're still connected. Or maybe you had a falling out with your parents when you were young. And you built up a great deal of hate against them for whatever it was they did to you. You know how we like to be the victims. So let's move on now to how do we overcome it? I was supposed to put in here something. I think it's a paraphrasing of Yoga Berra. Nothing that I say today will apply to any of you, unless it does. All right, so let's start out. How do we overcome? Well, first of all, as I said before, karma is just a lesson we're here to learn. So we need to approach it with curiosity. What is it I'm trying to learn? Now, a few weeks ago, we were listening to Edgar Casey on our Thursday night meeting. He wasn't speaking, but and he talked about the law to overcome karma. And I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. And he said that that law is the law of grace. Now, we tell this story. It depends on how true it is for each of us. It says first we get a little hint that we need to make a change, right? Then we get a bigger hint that we need to make a change in something. And then we get the cosmic 2x4 across the side of the head, right? Well, grace, according to my understanding of how Casey was speaking, is that power that allows us to short circuit that anytime we want to. The only reason we have that experience is to understand it. So if you understand it like that, there's no God up there saying, oh, I'm sorry, you didn't do the last 2 steps. You didn't get to go through the cosmic 2x4, and I was waiting for that. You know, that's not our perception concept of God. So when you get that little hint, and I think I talked about this the last time, then there's no reason that you can't resolve it right then and there. And consciousness doesn't know any limits or boundaries or space or time. So if we understand the lesson, the rest of the deal is gone. It's out of here. So another way that I was a little more familiar with is forgiveness. So we always talk about forgiveness of others, right? You know, we all got our victim story. My mother this, my father that, the kids in school, that, something else. And so we create this victim story. You go say, how are you? Hi, I'm fine. When I was a kid, and we tell our victim story, right? Maybe not everybody, but there's a tendency among people to tell their victim story. So whatever. So if you catch yourself in the middle of a victim story, what's that all about? Let's make something up. Let's see what comes to mind about what it's really about. It's not about them, ultimately. It's more about you. And it's about what you came to learn. It's like the little soul in the sun. Somebody volunteered to be the tough person there, being ugly or whatever, so the little soul in the sun could forgive. So let's pretend that that's the only reason that you have all of these trials and tribulations brought into your life. Number one, to forgive them. Number two, to forgive yourself. What is it? How did I resonate with that situation? What was my misunderstanding of what was going on? I've told this story before. I remember as a child, for Christmas, we'd go through the catalog or whatever, and we'd make a list of all the neat things we wanted. Sears, page 45, bottom page. I circled it. You know, and so one year I made my list, and I got something on my list. And it was like a really cheap toy that was nothing like I had imagined I was seeing in the book. And I held on to that for years. I was like, my parents, they're thrifty, and they went and they found a cheap imitation of this wonderful thing that I was planning on getting. And then I had my own children. And I discovered what's in the catalog isn't always what you're going to get. It's like shopping on Temu, you know. You say, oh, I've got this tractor, and it comes and it's like this big. And the way they'd been showing it was that you were excavating your backyard with it, you know. Anyway, sorry. Maybe Temu is different than that. Okay, so you really need to look at those things. And it really, the bottom line is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if anybody was at fault. Why hold on to it? So forgiveness is huge. And most of the times, we had a misunderstanding of what was going on. And why did we have that misunderstanding? Who knows? Sometimes it had to do with the stuff that, our filters that we were bringing everything in through. So, I want to put it this way. You got to be careful what you think and what you dwell on and what you post on Facebook and what you read on Facebook and what you read in the news and how you allow that to influence you. You know that the world is out there to give you an opportunity to resonate with all sorts of stuff. So as we said earlier, don't feed the black wolf. Right? There's an expression or something they say about in relationships, you know, never go to bed angry. Well, never go to bed angry. Whether you're in a relationship or not, if you're going to bed by yourself, don't go to bed angry. Don't go to bed and sit there and, you know, let that stuff fester. All you're doing is attracting, you're resonating, you're broadcasting for the world that says, hey, by the way, if anything like that crap is coming by overnight, just latch on to me, I'm here. I'd rather not do that. do your work. The work I'm talking about is when you find yourself in a situation that you need to deal with, take the time. Sit in silence. Do the work. Don't just go on to the next shiny object. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Forgive that little 6-year-old who got mad at his parents because what they thought they were doing was getting him exactly what he wanted for Christmas. You know, we all have these things in our past. So the little kid misunderstood. Parents were doing the best they could, and the little kid just misunderstood it. And love. Not just others, but yourself. Take yourself, hold yourself in your arms just like you would a child or a pet. Love yourself. Look at yourself. Love yourself. You are the most magnificent being, the most magnificent individualization of God that you know. Appreciate it. So be grateful that you maybe have some tools from this philosophy to work on all these things. And also be grateful for the stuff that comes up, because it's coming up to be resolved. Because you came here, I'll say, came here to earth, fully intent to learn some lessons, to clear things up, to resolve unresolved issues from current and past lives, early childhood, it doesn't matter what. Help yourself do that. It's all there. I think even in Jim's reading, it talked about how I can't remember what it was, but basically how we're fully supported by the oneness. Yeah. Anyway, that's what I had to say. And so it is. So it is. So let's just take a minute and take this to prayer. We know that God is all there is. Spirit, oneness, the universe plus, however we name it. It is all there is. This is expressing magnificently in each and every one of us. Each and every one of us has all the qualities. I'd say we are godlings. We are co-creators of our experience with this loving God, the divine comforter, wrapping each of us in its love. Constantly beckoning us, come hither, come closer, my beloved. I see in you the divine expression in a uniqueness that no others have or can be. So I welcome you back into this glow, this grace, this love, this understanding, this forgiveness. No matter what is going on, we know that we're divinely supported, continually held in that comfort. We also know this is true for our friends and family, those throughout the world right now that may be experiencing something which some would call less than godly. It really doesn't matter. There's God in there somewhere. We may not understand it, but God is expressing. Every being on this planet is seeking a clarity greater than they currently have. We know that's true and we support it. So we take these thoughts, this energy with us as we go throughout the next week and forever. What you do today will change the rest of your life. For that we are grateful. And so it is. All right, Barry, we have some more fantastic music from wonderful Barry.
I just wanted to say something about this song. So the song that I selected for after the meditation starts off as a prayer, sort of a tentative prayer, and it grows into a sense of victory and ends with quiet, calm success. It's about life, and it's one of my favorite songs. And I hope all of you think of it this way. It's Somewhere from West Side Story.
Great song and great talk. Awesome of both of you. Now it's time for us to take our offering. Thank you, Judy. As we acknowledge and receive our virtual and in-person gifts, we give great thanks for the offerings already given and those we will be receiving, because we know that giving and receiving are both part of the one flow. We affirm that we are also part of that flow. We bless these gifts and know they are multiplied throughout our community. Thank you, Judy. There are a number of folks who have contributed to the production of this service, and we're grateful for this service. Brenda on the computer, and Edwin with the camera and his beautiful music. Barry, goodness, and me. I did. Yes, we're going to have a birthday cake because we got a couple of people having birthdays in March. Judy Westfall and Jean.
Okay, that's way too appropriate.
We thank you for joining us today in Zoom as well, and here in the sanctuary. Lastly, stay around in the Zoom meeting if you like and visit, and or join us in the social hall for that birthday cake and some other goodies. Please stand as you are able and read with me the benediction, followed by our congregational song. In the midst of us.
So it is.
Now